Hi everyone, welcome to the session. Myself Sruthi Dinesh, Assistant Professor, Department of Business Administration, St. Albert's College Autonomous, Ernakulam. Today in this session, I'll be discussing about the topic hospital, its role, its functions, and finally the types and classification of hospital. So let us get into the session. What is hospital? Hospital is an institute which provides health care to individuals with the help of complex and special scientific equipments, with the help of well-trained, well-educated staff in the problems of modern medical science. Hospital is a specialized organization in which patient care is the main focus. The first and the foremost function of a hospital is to provide health care without any social, economic, and racial discrimination. Now, let us get into the definition of a hospital. There are a lot of definitions provided by different authorities and persons, but here I'll be focusing on the definition provided by an expert committee of the World Health Organization in 1963. According to them, a hospital is a residential establishment which provides both short-term and long-term medical services consisting of observational, diagnostic, therapeutic, and rehabilitative medical care for persons suffering or suspected to be suffering from a disease or injury and for patient. It may or may not provide services for ambulatory patients on an outpatient basis. Now we can look into the role of a hospital. Broadly, the role of hospital has two major aspects, namely the curative aspect and the preventive aspect. The curative aspect is the most important and best appreciated service of any hospital. The curative aspect mainly includes the diagnosis and treatment of patients. But apart from the diagnosis and treatment, the curative aspect includes the rehabilitation of patients as well. Rehabilitation is a help provided to the patients to recover from their injury and to resume their normal roles as useful members in the society. And the second aspect is the preventive aspect. A preventive aspect is much important in a developing country like India, which have a large population. And the importance of preventive aspect in such countries cannot be undervalued. The preventive aspect of a hospital includes the health education, maintaining hygiene conditions, immunization, etc. Next, we'll be moving on to a main important topic of the session, that is functions of a hospital. So these are the 5 major functions of a hospital. The core function being investigation, diagnosis, and care of the sick and injured, and 4 others being the other supportive functions. So let us get into each of the functions of the hospital. The chief function of the hospital is the investigation, diagnosis, and care of the sick and injured. And the second function is the health supervision and prevention of diseases. Provisions are available for routine health examination of all kind of people in hospital. The hospitals also help to prevent diseases or to help to prevent the spread of communicable diseases by isolating the patients, as well as they also help to raise the standard of the society by providing health education to the people in the community. The third function being the education of healthcare providers or the education of the medical workers. Doctors, nurses, physical therapists, physicians, dietitians, hospital administrators, and other medical and paramedical workers are being taught in the hospital of much what they learn to excel in their profession. The fourth one being health care research or medical research. Hospitals are providing ample opportunities for medical researchers by providing them the laboratory facilities, trained personnel, accumulated records which could not be available elsewhere. And the last function being rehabilitation. As I have already discussed, rehabilitation is a facility or the additional help provided to the patients to recover from their injury and to resume their normal roles. And the last topic of the session will be the types or classification of hospital. Hospitals are classified into different types based on different standards. And here I'll be classifying the hospital mainly on 6 bases, namely length of stay, on the basis of length of stay of patient, on clinical basis, on the basis of ownership or control, on the basis of objectives, on the basis of size, and lastly, on the basis of system of medicine. Now we can look into each type of classification. The first classification is based on the length of stay of patient. On this particular basis, we can classify the hospital into two main types, that is acute care hospitals and chronic care hospitals. As the name itself indicates, acute care hospitals are those hospitals which provide treatment for acute care diseases or those diseases which could be cured within a short period of time. For example, pneumonia. And the second type is chronic care hospitals, those hospitals which provide treatment for chronic care diseases or those diseases which could only be cured with pretty much long term, such as cancer. The second classification is on the basis of clinical basis. On this particular classification, there are two types of hospitals, namely general hospital and specialized hospital. General hospital are those hospitals which provides treatment for all kind of diseases, whereas specialized hospital is a kind of hospital which provides treatment for a special type of disease or for the type of disease for which this hospital has been set up. Say, for example, there are hospitals which provide treatment for cancer only, or there are hospitals which provide treatment for heart diseases. The next classification will be based on the ownership or control. Under this classification, we have four types of hospitals, namely public hospitals, voluntary hospitals, private nursing homes, and corporate hospitals. The first one being the public hospitals, which are controlled and managed by central or state government or local bodies and will be run on non-commercial lines. That is, the main aim of these hospitals is to provide service to the community rather than making profit. The second one is voluntary hospitals, those hospitals which are recognized and combined under the Societies Registration Act or Public Trust Act or any other act of the state or the central government. And these hospitals too are service-oriented hospitals. And the third one is private nursing homes, those hospitals which are run and controlled by an individual doctor or a group of doctors, but the hospitals here are run purely on commercial lines. And the fourth one being corporate hospitals, which are public limited hospitals or public limited companies which are run on commercial lines and formed under the Companies Act. The fourth classification will be based on objectives. On the basis of objectives, again, we have four types of hospitals, namely teaching cum research hospital, general hospital, specialized hospital, and isolation hospital. The first one being the teaching cum research hospital. The main aim of such kind of hospital will be teaching the medical workers such as doctors, nurses, physicians, etc. And the provision of healthcare will be secondary in such cases of hospital. The example for such kind of hospital is AIIMS, situated in our capital city, New Delhi. And second one is general hospital. As I have already mentioned, general hospital is a kind of hospital which provides treatment for all kind of diseases. And in such type of hospitals, provision of health care or medical care is the major aim of the hospital and teaching comes as secondary. The third one is specialized hospital, which will be providing treatment for a special kind of disease or for a special discipline. And the fourth one being isolation hospitals, the hospitals which provide treatment for infections or communicable diseases and the patients need to be isolated. Next classification will be based on size. On the basis of size, again we can classify hospital into four. That is teaching hospitals, district hospitals, taluk hospitals and primary health centers. Teaching hospitals are those hospitals which primarily have 500 beds and can be increased depending upon the number of students that are taught in the hospital. The second one is district hospitals, which primarily have 50 beds and can be increased up to 300 beds depending upon the population of that particular district. And the third one is taluk hospitals, which primarily have 50 beds and can be increased depending upon the population. And last one being primary health centers, which will be having 6 beds initially and can be increased up to 10 depending upon the needs of the hospital. And finally, the last classifications will be based on system of medicine. According to this particular classification, we have 5 kinds of system or 5 kinds of hospitals. That is Ayurvedic hospitals, Allopathy hospitals, Unani Hospital, Siddha Hospital, and the Physiotherapy Hospital. The first one being the Ayurvedic hospitals. As we all know, Ayurveda is one of the most natural way or one of the traditional form of medicine originated in our country, India, and it is one of the most natural way to cure the diseases and ailments. The second one is allopathy hospitals. It is also yet another conventional form of disease, and it is based on scientifically proven methods. The speciality of this particular kind of system of medicine is that allopathy medicine is pretty much effective, but it contains some side effects, and the patients are much aware of the side effects. The third one is Unani Hospital. It is also a traditional way of medicine which is originated in the country of Greece. The methods in this particular kind of system of medicine is pretty much similar to the Ayurveda. The fourth type of this particular classification will be Siddha hospitals. Siddha system of medicine is again a natural form or a traditional form of medicine which is originated in our country itself. Again, the methods used in this particular system of medicine is pretty much similar to what we use in Ayurveda. Some of the ailments or diseases which could be cured under this particular medicine is under this particular system of medicine is skin problems, anemia, diarrhea, etc. And the final type under this particular classification will be physiotherapy hospital. Physiotherapy or physical therapy is a kind of or a particular kind of treatment which is provided to prevent or manage the ailments related with the body movements. So with this, I'll be ending today's session. I hope you all enjoyed. Thank you.